Rory McIlroy just won his second straight Masters. The most important putt of his year dropped. His career Grand Slam was extended into back-to-back green jackets, and millions of people watching at home never saw the ball go in. The camera angle blocked it. The approach shots before it were missed entirely. And 48 hours later, NBC's lead golf analyst went on a podcast and torched his rival network in a way that nobody inside golf broadcasting has ever done out loud. To understand why this story is still moving 5 weeks later, you have to understand what actually happened on the 18th hole at Augusta National on Sunday, April 12, 2026. Rory McIlroy walked to the final tee with a 2-shot lead, the back-to-back at his fingertips, and pulled driver. The ball pushed right into the trees. Cameron Young, playing alongside him, hit his approach shot first. CBS lost the ball. The cameras cut to a wide angle. The operators could not locate where Young's ball had landed, and the broadcast spent more than a minute showing dead grass and crowd shots while the most important moment of the tournament unfolded somewhere off camera. Then McIlroy hit his own approach out of the trees. CBS lost that one too. The ball hooked into a greenside bunker. Nobody on the broadcast knew where it had ended up. For well over a minute, the announcers had no idea whether McIlroy had just thrown the Masters away or saved it. McIlroy blasted out of the bunker. He rolled his first putt to a few inches. He had a tap-in bogey for the win. And then CBS, for reasons that have never been publicly explained, chose a camera angle that put the back of McIlroy's shirt directly between the viewer and the cup. The most important putt of his year, the one that completed back-to-back green jackets, the second man in modern history to defend at Augusta, and the audience at home watched his shoulders instead of the ball. The Masters.com digital feed, the streaming option Augusta National runs separately from the CBS broadcast, did show the shot. It captured McIlroy's hooked approach, hooking out of the trees and rolling into the bunker. Front Office Sports later called it the Zapruder film of the 2026 Masters. The live broadcast missed it. The app got it. That is the moment Kevin Kisner stopped being a polite analyst. Here is what you need to know about Kisner before any of his comments make sense. He is not a Twitter account. He is not some retired pro firing hot takes from a couch. Kisner is a 4-time PGA Tour winner who joined NBC Sports as a golf analyst in January of 2024. By December of that same year, he had been promoted to lead golf analyst, the top broadcasting position at the network. He is the lead voice for the Players' Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship. He is one of 4 hosts on Barstool Sports' 4Play podcast, the most listened to independent golf podcast in the world. And on the final 2 days of the 2026 Masters, he was inside the ropes at Augusta National, working as a guest analyst on SiriusXM radio. He was on the course in real time. He was watching shots happen with his own eyes, minutes before CBS showed them on the broadcast. He had access to the live action and the televised version simultaneously, and the gap between the two was driving him insane. 2 days after McIlroy won, on Tuesday, April 14th, Kisner went on 4Play and gave one of the most unfiltered pieces of cross-network criticism in the history of sports broadcasting. He started with a disclaimer. He said, quote, "I have a very biased opinion, so I want to go ahead and put that out there before I start, since I work for the other network." Then he said the line that went everywhere. "I was so fidging confused the entire time by trying to keep up with the behind-the-scenes CBS feed. They're literally showing stuff that I knew happened 10 minutes ago all day long." He kept going. He said he had texted Colt Knost, the CBS on-course analyst, mid-broadcast and asked him directly whether CBS ever showed a live shot. He compared the experience to watching the Super Bowl on a 7-minute tape delay while the announcers pretended everything was live. He said, quote, "What are we doing? You have no commercials, play live shots." He pointed to the contrast with how his own network operates. "Our production team at NBC prides themselves at showing every shot that they possibly can live, and when we don't, we have to say a moment ago, because we are trying to make the whole movie make sense." He said he had no idea what CBS was doing. Quote, "Literally no idea. They're showing every shot on tape. It's incredible. I don't even know how the announcers call it." That is not a hot take. That is the lead broadcaster of NBC's golf operation, on a podcast with millions of listeners, publicly burning the broadcast partner that NBC operates alongside across nearly every major event on the PGA Tour calendar. Quick pause here. If you watched the 2026 Masters and thought CBS did a good job, say good job. If you thought Kisner had a point, say he was right. I read all of them. Hit subscribe before you scroll away, because this story has another layer that the headlines have not been touching, and it changes everything. Here is the part of the story almost nobody is talking about. CBS has held the Masters broadcast contract for 71 consecutive years. It is the longest-running television relationship in American sports. And across all 71 of those years, CBS has never actually controlled the production. Augusta National controls it. The pacing, the silences, the tape delays, the carefully curated camera angles, the deliberate way the Masters tells its own story on its own timeline. Those are Augusta's decisions, not CBS's. Augusta National sets the conditions, CBS executes within them. That is why the broadcast looks identical every year. That is why the same camera shot of Magnolia Lane plays the same way every Thursday morning. That is why nobody at CBS has ever been able to make the kind of structural production changes that NBC or ESPN have made on their own broadcasts. Kisner has been inside this world long enough to know that. He has played the Masters. He has been credentialed at Augusta multiple times. He understands exactly who makes the production decisions and why. Which means that when he called the CBS broadcast confusing, when he said he had no idea what they were doing, when he asked what they were doing without commercials, he was not just criticizing CBS. He was describing something that Augusta National designed, that CBS agreed to maintain, and that no one inside the broadcasting structure has ever said out loud on a platform that size. And the response told you exactly how dangerous that was. Front Office Sports reached out to Leslie Ann Wade, a former CBS communications executive, for her read on the situation. Her answer was short and pointed. She said golf television is a tight syndicate, and that this is not how the game is traditionally played and won. The implication was not subtle. Kisner holds his SiriusXM Augusta credential because Augusta National allows him to hold it. Augusta National does not forget when public statements conflict with the image it has spent decades protecting. The suggestion that Kisner's access to the Masters grounds in 2027 was not necessarily guaranteed. That was not a hypothetical. That was a warning. Jim Nantz, the voice of CBS's Masters coverage for 38 years, responded on The Pat McAfee Show. His answer was the complete opposite of Kisner's in tone: calm, measured, professional. He acknowledged that mistakes happen in live television, that split-second decisions get made across 30 hours of coverage, and that he was proud of his crew. He never used the word Kisner. He never directly addressed the substance of the complaint. He simply described the difficulty of live production and let the contrast speak for itself. By Thursday, April 16, Kisner was back on foreplay. The apology was real, not a statement drafted by a communications team. Not a carefully worded non-apology. He opened by saying it had been an interesting few days. He said he had to apologize to the golf team at CBS. He said he crossed the line by talking about that whole content. He said NBC screws up all the time. He said producing live television is genuinely difficult, and that everyone involved is doing their best. He said, quote, "There are partners with the PGA Tour, and they continue to showcase in a great way the game we all love, and they're all trying to do their best, and I was too critical of them." That sounds like the end of the story. It is not. The apology opens the conversation, rather than closes it. If Kisner knew how difficult live production was, and he said himself, on the record, that he did know, then the question is not whether he regrets what he said. The question is why he said it anyway. He acknowledged his bias out loud at the top of the original rant, before he said any of it. He named the conflict before he created the conflict. That tells you this was not a man who lost control of his mouth. This was a man who looked at what happened on the 18th hole on the final Sunday of the 2026 Masters, the missed approach shots, the shirt-back angle on McIlroy's winning putt, and decided that it was bad enough to say publicly, even knowing exactly what he was doing, and who would notice. Here is where this story actually sits today. Kisner apologized for what he said. Nobody has apologized for what CBS showed. The tape delay is still on the record. The lost approach shots are still on the record. The blocked winning putt is still on the record. The apology addressed Kisner's conduct. It addressed nothing about the broadcast itself. And Augusta National, an institution with the memory of an elephant and the patience of a cathedral, knows exactly who raised these questions publicly. They know what he said. They know what platform he said it on. And they will make their decisions about access in the same quiet way Augusta always makes its decisions, without comment, without announcement, without appeal. The 2027 Masters is 11 months away. Kevin Kisner's SiriusXM credential for Augusta National has not yet been confirmed for next year. That question, despite the apology, is still very much open. CBS has another 71 years of muscle memory to fall back on. Kisner has none of that. If this one landed for you, drop a like before you scroll away. It is the single biggest thing that tells YouTube to push these stories to other golf fans who might never see them otherwise. Subscribe if you want more of these, the kind that take the long view instead of the loud one. There are more coming.